The People's Republic of China and U.S. imperialism so-called turn to Asia. Our panel includes three speakers who play major roles with Workers' World newspaper: Deirdre Griswold, the current editor of Workers' World, and Fred Goldstein and Abeyumi Azikiwe, who are contributing editors for Workers' World. Azikiwe is also the longtime editor of the Pan-African News Wire. My name is Monica Moorehead, and I'm a managing editor of WW and will be chairing this panel. We will be discussing developments in China, the Philippines, and Korea. In particular, it will look at how the intervention of the U.S., the dominant capitalist world power, has impacted the development of these Asian countries. We'll discuss how progressives here can strengthen our solidarity with the forces there who are resisting imperialism. The U.S. seized the Philippines from Spain in 1898. It fought Japan in World War II to recapture these strategic islands and extend its control over Asia. It has occupied the southern half of Korea since 1945 and constantly threatens the North. The U.S. was part of a consortium of Western imperialist countries that forced their way into China in the 19th century, but were booted out by the Revolution of 1949. They have never given up their strategic goal of breaking up the Chinese state and returning the country to neo-colonial bondage. Our panelists will examine the situation in these countries today, the differences and similarities, and answer the lies and distortions about them peddled in the capitalist media here. Now, I just wanted to briefly make some opening remarks on a special trip that I took to the Philippines in July of 2011. It was truly an eye-opening experience. I traveled there as a representative of the Women's Fight Back Network to attend a founding conference of the International Women's Alliance. The Philippines is home to over 97 million people. During the Spanish-American War, more than 1 million Filipinos were massacred by the U.S. Army in the racist, brutal war of conquest in that year. U.S. corporate interests have dominated the Philippines since that time, reaping super profits from the low wages of its workers. The national economy of the Philippines is controlled by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank under the guise of foreign debt, to the tune of more than $60 billion at the end of 2012. Instead of providing jobs and arable land, education, healthcare, housing, and more, the majority of public monies goes towards paying just the interest of this endless debt service. The poverty rate in 2012 was officially over 22%, a full 1% increase from 2011. But really, sisters and brothers, this number doesn't even begin to tell the real story of the horrendous poverty in this country. 80% of the population, that's over 69 million people, survive on less than $2 a day. 46 million people are literally starving. The indigenous economy has been severely undermined by U.S. global conglomerates. I was able to take a tour of an urban squatters area inhabited by 4,000 people within just a several block radius. And the tour was organized by Gabriela, which is a mass organization of Filipino women who live and organize among the poor communities. And they offer services, especially to women, regarding health care, sanitation, food, nutrition, reproductive rights, and more. And when I was there, I was able to interview quite a few of the women. And one quote really stood out in my mind by one of the women, and she said, quote, "We have become squatters in our own country," end quote. And this urban area is called, if I'm pronouncing it right, Kainjin Bukid, was scheduled for government demolition, but because of the people's resistance, it is still standing today, but just barely. Residents live next to the Pasek River, which contains tons of domestic and industrial waste. And swimming in this water has caused a major outbreak of diarrhea among children. During the monsoon period, which is very, very frequent, floodwaters rise above the banks and flood homes. There are no basements for cover. The people either have to leave for a higher area or go to a third floor until the polluted water subsides and everything dries out. The minimum hourly wage in the Philippines is 43 pesos, or around $10 a day for 10 hours of work. Factory workers receive an average age of 25 pesos an hour, or 50 cents. The vast majority of factory workers are women in the garment and electronic industries concentrated in the so-called special economic zones, which are created by foreign capital. Multinational corporations, especially from the U.S., are rabidly anti-union. In 2009, only 5% of the Philippine workers were unionized. There's no national industry in the Philippines. The economy is dominated by the export of human beings or migrants. It has the largest migrant population of workers than any other country in the world. More than 4,000 people leave the Philippines daily to seek wage jobs in 150 countries, including the U.S. This is forced displacement on a massive scale. Filipino workers, as health care providers and domestic workers, are forced to go abroad to help their families survive. These workers have no kind of protection. They are forced to work endless hours for slave wages, are subject to domestic violence, including sexual abuse by bosses. They have no child care, no health care, or any other social services. And this includes women migrant workers in the U.S. Human trafficking, especially the sex trade, in quote, unquote, industry, is a huge crisis for Filipinos, including children. Filipinas have the highest rate of suicide and depression among Asians, according to the Filipinas for Rights and Empowerment. 6 out of 10 people in the Philippines are under the age of 24. Public education is not free on any level. Tuition for 1 year of elementary education is 300 pesos, which does not include the school uniforms or books or even an electric fan for your classroom, despite the high heat and humidity. High school students pay 400 pesos a year for tuition. The average classroom size for all grades is between 42 and 60 students. Without a college diploma, you can't get a job even in the call centers. This is a global phenomenon involving millions of low-wage workers, including those in the Philippines. And because of the dire poverty in the Philippines, armed security armed security guards are stationed everywhere. Large groups of people, especially young people and workers, congregate. Lack of health care is a big crisis. While there are government-run hospitals for the poor, there is a lack of medicine. Large numbers of young pregnant women, many of them teenagers, do not have access to reproductive services, including birth control, prenatal, and neonatal care. The resilience of the women who survive intolerable conditions on a daily basis was truly inspirational for me to see. The government tries to terrorize the well-organized United Mass Movement with death squads, preventive detentions, kidnapping, and torture by the armed forces of the Philippines, which of course is supplied by the U.S. The Philippine government fears a justified rebellion against inhumane living conditions aggravated by the global capitalist crisis. So I'm just going to end here, sisters and brothers, and we can discuss this more. But this just sort of gives you a glimpse as to what life is like in the Philippines. For just it was just really starting to see this firsthand.
The women united will never be defeated. The women united will never be defeated.
And we go at the roof of our house because of the flood. Here in Kainin Bukid is almost 3
to 4,000. Yeah.
More than.
Or more or less 3 to 4,000.
And it's in a very small, condensed, dense area.
Yeah. Only this, but this area near of the river is, if the rain is continue, their house is also flooded. And then the people, the residents of the house will evacuate at the upper place so that to save their family. And then their house is flooded.
Flooded. And what happens where do people go when the houses flood? Are there any shelters or what happens?
They don't have a regular shelter. They are only going up, and then after the flooded, they go back to their house to clean and arrange their house again. But if raining again, they are evacuating again because the water is high.
Always high.
Wow.
Right now.
And I see children are swimming
Yeah.
in the water.
If the water is down, the children was swimming in the river.
But
The river,
it's polluted too. The water is polluted.
not safe for the people, for the children.
So you can't use the water for drinking or eating, or even boiling.
Yes.
Still not that.
The water is contaminated during the flooded.
So this creates a whole health crisis for the community. Right?
Yes.
No plan to relocate the people, right?
Until now, the government, there's no plan for relocation. The government told that they have a relocation, but if you look the relocation, they are all in the outside the Metro Manila, like in Montalban, like in Bulacan, like in Cavite. So very far for the jobs. There's no lights, there's no water, there's no hospital, there's no school, like that. So, and then the place was a danger for the people, like that.
The poor become poorer and the rich become richer.
Can I just ask you all a question?
Sure.
Okay. What kind of changes would you like to see here for yourselves and for your families and so forth? What are some of the biggest issues that you face here?
The flooded area here, not only us, but the whole residents here. We want to change that flooded river every heavy rain pours. And then, of course, we want to improve our living. Because we live here, poor people. So we want to make it more better.
What about the issue of what about jobs? Are there any jobs?
Yeah, more. 80%. 80%. More. 80%. It's jobless. They're also looking for a job.
And what about health? Is any affordable health care?
Affordable, pardon?
Health care.
Healthcare.
Hospitals, clinics.
For hospital, we have also lot of hospitals here, but the payments is very high. We can't afford to pay like private hospitals. There is also some government hospital who has free services, but you are the one to buy medicine.
Oh, so you can go.
So if you don't have money to buy the medicine, maybe you will die because you can't afford to buy medicines.
Well, I'm from the United States, and I want to bring back your message to the people of the United States.
We're seeking help from the good people of the United States. So please extend your help to us directly. Directly.
To the government.
Directly. Oo, to government.
Right to Gabriella.
We poor people
Not in the...
can avail whatever help you extend to us. Because if
As you can see, we're walking through this community, and the water and the sanitation situation is just astounding. It's shocking to see people living like this. A lot of children with sores on their legs, a lot of unemployment, men and women playing cards.
My name is...
I'm making this for the United States, so you're going to be on camera and video. People are so friendly and nice. And this is really the invisible population. About 4,000 people live in this small area that has been slated time and time again for demolition. But with the leadership of Gabriella, they have been able to stop the demolition of this community, which is government land. And this is the type of conditions that the United States government is supporting in the Philippines. It's no wonder that over 4,000 people are forced to leave the Philippines to try to find a better life for their children. Gabriella Run Daycare Center, which is beautiful. Oh my goodness. I think, why is this daycare center so vital for this community?
For those families who cannot afford to go to their children in the private school, because here in the care center, no tuition pay, monthly no payment.
The birth control is not the solution. Yeah, more of education, more of information campaign, how to control their family, and then information for the rights, how to accompany and assist their kids.
Yes.
And it's also their health or their rights as a women in the country.
wanted to raise the Philippines because one point that I didn't raise out of all of the different, you know, I just sort of gave a synopsis as to really the deplorable conditions that, you know, the majority of the 97 million people face in the Philippines, which really is a neo-colony of the U.S. It's really a neo-colony. And that is, there has been an armed struggle that's been taking place in the Philippines for many, many years, carried out by the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, which has been a focus of the so-called War on Terror, you know, by the U.S., and it represents the interests of the Bangamora people, which is concentrated in the southern region of Mindanao, you know, and so this is why the U.S. has also increased its political repression, you know, in this area, and its aid, its military aid to the Philippines, because this is a justified liberation movement that's fighting for its self-determination and so forth against, you know, imperialism and the puppet regime of the Philippines.